Hi, Jason here from Jason Black Mountaineering. Just want to share a small video, guys, with you all in relation to your clothing and your requirements to get through the Four Peak Challenge, the National Four Peak Challenge. So, keeping it very simple. Obviously, what you don't want to do is turn up with a load of gear that you're not going to use. So we want to break it down into simple gear that we definitely are going to use with some backup, and that's ultimately what it's about. Again, the weather over the weekend is going to predict a lot. So the weather forecast leading up to it is going to advise you a lot in relation to what you're going to require for the weekend. We will be posting on the WhatsApp groups and on our social media platforms what we think the weather is going to be looking like for the weekend. But we do want you to take responsibility and check the weather forecast for yourself for the weekend. Taking into consideration, guys, that we're working north, south, east, and west in Ireland. So the weather will change periodically and a lot through the whole process of being in the Mournes in the north, to Carrantoul in the south, to Lugnaquilla in the east, and certainly over to Woolree in the west. So, and again, over the whole weekend, that circumnavigational weather of Ireland can change. We could have the most gorgeous weather in the Mournes, and we could hit with an incredible bout of bad weather in Lugnaquilla, and it could be absolutely beautiful again in the Mournes, and something very different in Woolree. So look, we've got to think logically about how this is all going to work. Just because we have good weather on one mountain doesn't mean it's going to be the same at all. So taking that into account, guys, starting off with the most important part of the jigsaw puzzle is your feet. Looking after your feet is the key to the success for the weekend. Please, please, please don't rock up with a pair of shoes or boots that you've only just purchased the day before because you've left it till the last minute. You really should be in your boots for at least a couple of months in advance to have them well broken in, to have ironed out any blisters and any hot spots or any corners of the toes that we're getting any rubbing, to have all that nailed down so that you can enjoy the weekend. If you think about it, guys, you're going to be in your footwear for 4 hard mountains, so it's not a case that you're just doing one couple of hours and then you can recover. We are going to be hitting each mountain back to back, and if your feet break down, you could be in real trouble. So it's definitely a boot that you require for the weekend, a good flexible boot, a boot that, it doesn't have to be an overly expensive boot, but a good leather boot that'll take, a bit of abuse, have ankle support, which is critically important. I would definitely encourage you all to have a second pair of shoes, so that, just say hypothetically one pair of shoes did break down on you and it caused a blister or caused an issue, I would have a set of trail running runners with you. Now, the difference between a trail runner and an ordinary runner is an ordinary runner will not do, guys. Do not turn up with a pair of ordinary runners expecting to go on to be, or expect to be allowed to go onto the mountain. There is no grip at all, and you're going to be in trouble. Trail runners have these really big butch grips at the bottom of the sole, quite like a boot, that are really responsive in wet ground. So we will not be letting you onto a mountain if your hiking boots have broken down and you've got a major issue with a blister and you want to continue, and you want to do it in a pair of maybe light pair of running trail runners. We're not going to let you rock up in a pair of ordinary standard gym runners that you would go to the gym in, because they're not going to work at all. So please do not expect that to happen. We will allow you to wear trail runners as long as they're proper, highly gripped trail runners. So in foot care, I just want to spend a little bit of time talking about that. So again, the first climb is the Slieve Donard in County Down. Fabulous climb. It's dry underfoot, so there's no wet at all. It's a path from literally Donard Car Park up towards Slieve Donard to the wall. We turn left and then we hike up to the summit. It's a beautiful hike. It's dry underfoot, and it's very, very safe. So again, that's where you could get away on a good high quality set of trail runners on that first hike, or certainly a pair of boots that's well broken in. So once we come down again, it's off with the boots immediately. There is storage in the National Four Peak bus. This is the only place your boots are going to go. There is a boot box in there that you have to take your boots off once you come down, because they're going to be murky and grubby. Put them into the exterior bike or exterior hold all, and then you can take them out after when you arrive at the next hike. At that point, that's where your sliders should be. A pair of sliders are great because you can slide your feet into them with your socks on, and that lets you get onto the bus to carry on the rest of your changeover in preparation for the next climb. So definitely all boots are definitely going to go on into the the hold all on the outside of the bus. They're not going to be allowed onto the bus. So please don't take your boots onto the bus. Respect everybody else that's on the bus. There's no point in getting on with boots that are wet and muddy and making the floors not very pleasant for everybody else that could be in their socks. So so on footwear, again, what I always encourage people to do is when you get onto the bus, that's where you need your kind of like your talc or your baby wipes, where you can clean your feet down. Feet preparation in between each climb is really important. So I would definitely have a baby wipe. Make sure that it's bio-friendly, guys. Make sure that it's that it decomposed naturally and it's not full of all these nasties. Please, let's protect the environment. We are a Leave No Trace organisation, and we want to leave no trace. So again, that's when I would talc down my feet, and I would put on a fresh pair of heavy socks. It's going to keep me nice and warm, and have my sliders. So that's your foot care. And then I have a fresh pair of socks for each mountain. I definitely would have 4 pairs of socks with me. Sorry, I would have 5 pairs. I would have a pair for sleeve donnered. I would have those off and finished for sleeve donnered. I would have my bus socks that I'm going to use for each time I'm on the bus. So you only need 1 pair of bus socks. That's generally a nice heavy fluffy pair of socks that are going to keep your feet warm. And then I'd have a fresh pair of socks again heading into Lugnaquilla, and again back onto my bus socks again in between, and then back on with a fresh pair of socks again for Carrantoul, back onto my bus socks again, and then back on with a fresh pair of socks for Woolwee in County Mayo, and then back onto my bus socks to take me back to Sleeve Donard. So 5 pairs of socks is all you need for the weekend. Do not rock up with 10 pairs of socks. You're not going to need them. Okay, so that's the foot care, guys. Just to support the foot care on the hike itself, and in case you do get blisters, Compeed. Compeed can be got in any good chemist. It's basically a blister pack. It's like a second skin that goes over your heel or the corner of your toe that may be rubbing or maybe under a little bit of pressure with the boot from either going down the hills or with pressure climbing up the hills and attacking the heels. So again, I definitely throw into my bag a couple of packs of blister packs. They're very convenient. They're easy to use. If you haven't used them before, buy them and ask the guides how this works. And we'll definitely be there to support you. So that's the foot care side of it, and it's the main thing. I mean, if your feet are broken down, you're out. You know, you're going to have to sit in the bus. We don't want that to happen. We want you to finish the 4 Peak Challenge. You put in all the hard work, training, and effort at this point now, and we really want you to deliver on the weekend. So that's the foot care done and dusted. So then we move to clothing. Let's start with the feet up. So we've talked about the boots and the runners or the ultra runners. We've talked about the socks, hiking trousers. I'm just going to show you a pair of hiking trousers I'm wearing. This is just a light pair of hiking trousers. Everyday trousers that we would use. I would definitely have two pairs with me. You don't need 4. 2 pairs is all you need. So I'm going to talk about hiking clothes, and I'm going to talk about bus clothes. So the hiking clothes first. So that's the boots, the socks, the hiking trousers, 2 pairs. Underwear, 2 pairs. That's all you need. That's all you need to get through the weekend. So then going to a t-shirt, all you need a proper, mountain-based t-shirt. Something that's an ultra running t-shirt, something that's you'd use to the gym. Definitely not cotton. Cotton gets heavy and wet. It gets cold, and it's not going to be suitable for the mountain. One of those light fabric gym type tops will dry very, very quickly in between hikes, and it'll dry as you're walking on the mountain. So even though you did get a blast of rain, it'll dry as you're hiking, or even if it's coming from your own sweat, it'll dry as well as you're hiking along. Then you need a fleece, something similar to this, one that you would use yourself. I use the likes of this with my hood, so that if it does get cold, I can pop it up. Certainly on colder nights, I tend to like this. This is the recent Mamook one. It's really cool because I like the pockets that are here. It allows me to store my food as I'm on the move. I don't have to go looking for my backpack to come off to slow everybody down. I can eat as I'm eating and talking and climbing. I like these ones too because it has this kind of like hand warmer effect that's going on. But look, you don't need to be buying this. This is my own personal gear. You don't need to be buying anything hugely expensive for the 4 Peak Challenge. Look at your wardrobe. Look at what you have available, and that's what you delve into. So you definitely need a good fleece on top, supported by. There is going to be times, guys, it is going to be cold. Certainly, I can tell you now, starting out in the mornings at 7:30 in the morning, it's going to be a little bit chilly. And definitely going into Carntool at 3-4 o'clock in the morning, it's going to be really Baltic down there, certainly until the sun comes up. Look, us climbers, we use these puff jackets. These are little lightweight puff jackets, come in all different colours. I like mine to be bright because I like to be spotted by Mountain Rescue or be spotted by other clients or other members of my team. But again, it's your choice. But definitely, if a light puff jacket that's got an insulation built into it is really good. If you don't have it, maybe a second layer. So maybe a second base layer. You can have a long sleeve base layer with a second one on top of it, and then your fleece like this. You support your top gear then, guys, with your rain jacket. This is just your typical Gore-Tex rain jacket that we would use on the mountains all the time. Again, like this one has the pockets here available again for food and nutrition. If I want to pop in my food in here and here, I can again get access to my gloves, get access to my buff, access to my hat, access to my sunglasses or anything like that. So a buff as well. A buff's a really cool piece of kit, guys. It just obviously pops in over your head and in and around your neck. Really cool for, on cold nights, cold mornings, just keeping your ears warm, keeping your throat warm, keeping your face warm. Really cool bit of kit to have. Obviously then support that with a woolly hat. It's just a regular woolly hat, guys. You don't need anything too exotic, just a regular woolly hat. I tend to wear a peak cap during the day with my sunglasses, my sun cream on, and then when it gets colder in the evening time, at night time, I put on my buff, I put on my woolly hat, I put my ball cap into my backpack or into my box that I'm going to have with all my spare clothes on the bus. So that's kind of how I will roll on the mountain. I don't need much more than that on the mountain. I will have a pair of light gloves that'll keep me, warm if I get caught out on a later hike. So there will be some hikes you're in the midday heat. It's beautiful and warm. You won't need any of this gear. You'll be able to do it nearly in a t-shirt and your hiking trousers with your sun cream on, your ball cap and your sunglasses. But there is times during the hike over the weekend, guys, that we're going to be doing a night hike with the head torch on. You need your head torch, by the way, as well, guys. Head torch on, the buff, the woolly hat, and maybe a nice pair of light gloves just to keep that chillness out of your hands. So that's kind of how I'm going to rock up on for the 4 Peak Challenge on each of the climbs. And you're going to support that by maybe having a second fleece. And maybe I would have 2, if not 3 t-shirts. You're going to be able to dry gear, guys. You must remember, not everything's not going to be absolutely soaking. You're going to be able to dry stuff as well. Have your socks organized, have your jocks, have your 2 pairs of trousers organized, have your fleece organized. I would go for 2, maybe 3 t-shirts. Have your waterproof trousers, have your buff and your hat, and then your waterproof trousers as well, guys. Just a regular pair of waterproof trousers that keeps the rain out. And that's basically all you need from a clothing point of view for the weekend. You need bus clothing. It's a separate situation completely. Whenever you come back from your hike, you will want to strip off. That's where you need your baby wipes. Do a bit of a baby wipe clean down, keep yourself relatively fresh. I'm not a big fan of spraying deodorant on a bus and with everybody else around me. I think it's quite disrespectful. You do get the deodorants that are like a rub-on deodorant under the arm rub-on, much bus friendly than spraying a spray of Lynx or something that's going to be contaminating the fresh air space and really could annoy the other hikers around you for the weekend. So just be very conscious that it's just not you and there's everybody else as part of the process. So then the bus clothes, guys, quite simple. When I come down from the hike, I take my boots off outside, I put them into the holdall outside the bus. I have my sliders in the holdall that I've left there. I put my sliders on. I get into the bus, sit in my seat, and then I've got an opportunity then to put on my bus clothes. My bus clothes should be on the bus in the top rank and the top shelf of the bus. directly above my seat, so I know that I've got my tracksuit bottoms, I've got a fresh t-shirt, and I've got a fresh fleece up there. And that's all you need. You need your fresh socks. I tend to go, that one pair of socks, I tend to go for a nice kind of like puffy socks. I have a pair here. So this is kind of like the puffy socks that I'd be going for in between each of the hikes. And then I put on my slider to support that as well. So there's my slider. So again, the sock with the slider works really well. And that's kind of like, once I've got my foot care under control, I've got everything all done. Get my lovely socks on. I'm going to keep my feet warm. I've got my sliders that allow me to slide in and out of what I need to do. So again, on the bus, I'm going to have my tracksuit bottoms, I'm going to have a fresh t-shirt, I'm going to have a fleece, I'm going to have my socks and my slider, and then it's time to get it stuck into my nutrition. So again, guys, when you're coming for the weekend, you're going to have 2 boxes with you. You're going to have your box for nutrition, and the box shouldn't be the size of, you know, a lorry. It should be a small, condensed, well organized, well structured nutritional box full of all the goodies that you need to get through the weekend, and also another box. So 2 boxes. Another box that's got your clothing in it, the clothing that you're going to need for the mountain and the clothing that you're going to need for spares. And the spares is the socks. So the spare socks, the spare jocks, the 1 pair of spare hiking trousers, the couple of spare t-shirts, the 1 spare fleece, and then basically your rain gear should be in your backpack. Talking about backpacks, guys, it's just a regular backpack is all you need. This is a 38-litre backpack. This is exactly the backpack I'll be using for the weekend. Small, you know, 30-litre, 35-litre, that's ideal. It'll be carrying your hydration. You know, I'll be using the likes of this water bottle all the time. I'll be refilling it up with my big bottle of water that'll be in the trunk of the bus, and I'll be well organized. I'll have a couple of sandwiches in my backpack. I'll be carrying my rain gear in my backpack. I'll be carrying my buff in my backpack. I'll be carrying my hat in my backpack. And I'll be carrying my food in my backpack. So your rain gear, your buff and your hat to keep you warm, with the spare gloves in your backpack, and that stays in there all the time. Once you keep your backpack loaded all the time with those kind of mandatory gear that you need for the mountain, you don't need to change it. So your bag should literally be ready all the time. The only thing you should be changing in your bag is your water. That's all. Some people rock up with the bladders, you know, the bladders that you use for hydration. But the only thing I find is a bladder can hold sometimes 2, if not 3 litres of water. You tend to fill them up. You don't need 2 litres or 3 litres of water on the mountain. You only need 1 litre of water on the mountain. So you tend to carry 2 litres up the mountain, drink 1 on the way, and you end up carrying the whole 1 litre of water for the whole weekend that there's no need for. And it does put extra pressure on you, especially over 4 mountain ranges, from the Mournes to Lugnaquilla to Carntool to Woolree. So guys, I really hope this video has helped in your preparation. What I would ask you to do is look at your kit from a proficiency point of view. You don't need to overpack. You don't need to rock up with too much gear with you. It's just going to put you under pressure. We have limited space on the bus. We've got 22, 23 other members on that bus, and everybody is going to turn up with their own gear. So if you turn up with 5 boxes full of gear with you, that's not going to be required for the weekend. We're not going to let you onto the bus with that type of gear with you. We're going to ask you at the side of the bus to get your gear organized. We don't want to do that. We want you to turn up, to take our advice, and to turn up very efficient. You know, it's a very fast process over the weekend. Once we start in the Mournes, before you realise it, you're in Kerry. Before you realise it, you're on the bus back to the Mournes. So it's if you think about it logically, you will get through the weekend, even if you had, for whatever crazy reason, some damp clothes because you got caught in something. You will obviously put it on you to get the last climb done. You're very motivated because you want to finish the 4 Peak Challenge, and you'll do whatever it takes. So, and if you're working for a charity, or if you're raising needed funds for a charity, you're not going to let that charity down. You're going to put on the gear. You're going to get on with it. You're going to go through the level of uncomfort and pain in order to get the challenge completed for somebody else's welfare. So guys, I really hope this video has been helpful. I really encourage you to look at your gear, to share any questions on the WhatsApp group. That's what we're there to do. We're there to help. We're there to share. And we're there to advise. And I really can't wait to see you in the National 4 Peak Challenge. And keep well. Enjoy the last stage of your final preparation. You're nearly there now, and talk to you all soon.